Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we will still looking at functions, formulas in Excel. For today's discussion, in reference to exploring Microsoft Office 365, Chapter 2, Formulas and Functions. The focus for today's session will mostly be looking at the SUM function and the SUMIF functions. It's our expectation that by the end of this lesson, you'll find it easy to use the SUM function and the SUMIF function. So let's move straight forward to the format for our discussion. So we will be demonstrating how to use the SUM function as well as the SUMIF function. With the SUM function, the syntax for the SUM function will be the SUM function start with equal to, and the sum and the sum range. So the sum range is the cells that you want to perform, the summation on, the range of cells that you want to perform the summation on. Now the syntax for the SUMIF also start with, like in Excel, all functions and formulas start with an equal symbol or the equal sign. So equal to the SUMIF, the range, the criteria that you are checking which qualified for you to perform the summation on, and the values that you want to sum them up is the sum range. So in Excel, like we know, the sum is the sum and the SUMIF are the function name. Within the parameter is the within the parentheses is the parameters or the arguments. Now, if you look at the first one for the sum, as I've highlighted on, the parameter is only the sum range. Now, for the parameter list or the argument or the parameters for the SUMIF, like I said earlier on, is the range of the cells that you will want to consider the summation criteria, okay, and the range of cells you as well want to add or perform the summation function on. So this is clear. I've defined what goes into the range, I've defined what goes into the criteria, and as well as the sum range. So if you take the range, for instance, the range of cells that you want to apply the criteria against, okay, you surely do that in Excel. The criteria is used to determine which cells to add, okay, and the sum range is optional, but it's optional. The range of cells summed together. If omitted, the range parameter will be summed instead. So let's move straight forward to our demonstration, whereby you find it easy to use these two functions, which will really help you in your work, and it will really solve a lot of, it will ease you in all your operations that you want to do with regards to using the sum and SUMIF function. So let me move on to my spreadsheet. On this spreadsheet, I have basically four main columns that I'll be considering. I have four main columns that contains the work items that I'm going to use. I have the car model, I have mileage, I have the selling price, and I have the age. Now I had this file from Kanjo, like I've been using, is an open data platform. You can download a whole lot of data set for your own usage. So this data set, once you go to Kanjo, just key in car price and go through, you see this sample data set, of which you can as well use for your own demonstration and for your own learning. Okay, so the first column, which is on column A, of which I've captioned it as the car model, has BMW X5 as well as Audi A5, then Benz C-Class. These are the three main cars that we are going to use for our demonstration. Now the criteria is here. I've captured the criteria. These are the three main cars within my data set: the BMW, the Mercedes-Benz, and Audi A5. Sorry. Now I'm going to perform a simple sales analysis. Assuming I'm a salesperson, I want to perform analysis. I'm going to perform a simple sales analysis. In cell H8, I'm going to find the summation, the total sum, okay, of all the cars that I have here, all assuming that these are individual transactions that I have here. So I'm going to add the first value under the selling price, which is $18,000, up to, which is in cell C2, up to cell C16 that contains the last item. So let's do that. So that's where we are going to start with using the sum function. Like we said, every function start with the equal sign. So equals to, then there's the function name. The function name is, we are using the sum. You open the first parenthesis, that is the bracket. Now it's asking you to pass in the various numbers, but this time we are going to use the range. Start from C2. So C2 has been selected. You can use the amounts to drag up to the last item, or use the range. So the column is used as the range. Then the last item you key in, that is C16. So all the values under the selling price has been selected. That is the range. We specify the sum range. We close the parenthesis. Enter. Now we have the total summation. We have the total summation of all the transactions that took place. The selling prices of all the cars, the various cars, the individual transaction. We've summed them up. Now let's go over this function. Equals to sum, then the sum range. In this case, in our work now, it starts from C2 up to C16. So we specify the sum range inside the parentheses, of which inside the parentheses, whatever you enter there is the parameter or the argument. Okay. Now let's move straight forward to, if we want, assuming we want to perform individual summation of the various car models that we have. For instance, we want to find the total sales that was made for BMW X5, as well as Benz and as well as Audi. So in cell H9, we are going to capture the sales that were made for BM. In cell H10, we are going to capture the sales that was made for Benz, and in cell H11, we are going to capture the sales that was meant for Audi. Now, like we said, the SUMIF function start with the equals sign, the function name SUMIF, the range, the criteria, and the sum range, which is be specified as optional. Now let's do for the first one. The first one, we have equals to SUMIF, the function name, then the range. We are going to add from the car model. Our focus is on the car models. So the first car model, the first item in the car model column, or column A, start from A2. We're going to start from A2. Then we specify the range. So A2 up to A16. A16. And comma. Then the criteria. The criteria, so we are going to perform summation for all BMW cars, X5 cars within the selection group. I've captured the BMW X5 in as the criteria in F2. So I'll select F2, I'll key in F2. Now we are then going to say that we want to sum all their selling price. So all BMW, so we have BMW in A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, as well as A12, A13. So what you're going to do, it will just sum up all BMW in this selection criteria. Okay, so now we want to sum up their selling price. You can do for mileage, you want to check their total mileage. You want to check for the, if you want to add, assuming that you want to find out the total years, you want to combine the years. But this time I'm interested in doing sales, and I'm interested in the sales price. So that starts from the sales price is in column C, so C2, and specify the sum range. So C to C16. Close the parentheses. So the figure we have here is just the total summation for the selection criteria BMW X5. We have it here. We will do same for Mercedes-Benz in cell H10 equal to the function in which is sum if, you open your parentheses, that's the bracket. The range again is still on column A. The first item start from A2. I can just select them across and I'll be free in the same step. Then the criteria, this time I'm checking for Benz, so which is in F3. Select it, comma. Then what do I want to sum? I want to find a summation of their selling price. I'll just select it or specify the range. Close the parentheses, that is the bracket, enter. We have the summation for the total sales for Mercedes-Benz. Let's do for the last one. That will be the end of our discussion on sum and sum if. Equal to the function name, which is sum if, open the parentheses, specify the range. The range is on column A. The first item start from A2 up to A16. Then the criteria we are looking at for all the A5, we select it, or the A5 is, we specify it in cell F4. Then the sum range, we want to perform summation on their selling price. Close the parentheses, enter. So guys, what have we achieved? We've achieved how to use the sum function, of which we said the syntax for the sum function start with the equal sign, like all functions and formulas in Excel or spreadsheet start with the equal symbol. For function, then the next one is the function name. In this case, we have the sum function, followed by the parameters, which start with you open the parentheses, that is a bracket, open and close bracket, or open and close parentheses. You specify, for sum, you specify the sum range. Now, we as well made use of the sum if function, of which also start with the equal symbol or equal sign. Then the function name, which is sum if. Now, within the parameters that goes inside the parentheses is the bracket, is the range, comma, the criteria, comma, the sum range, okay, the item that you want to perform their summation on. Guys, thank you very much for, I know you've enjoyed this episode, and the next episode will be on how to use count and count if. I hope you've really enjoyed this lesson, and watch out for more of this lesson. Bye.